Nathaniel thrived on control. From a young age, he had always been the one to take charge, the one to organize and direct. His life was a carefully constructed masterpiece, a symphony of meticulously planned events and perfectly executed actions. At work, he was a master strategist, a visionary who could anticipate every problem and dictate every solution. His team, while talented, often felt stifled under his watchful eye, their creativity smothered by his relentless pursuit of perfection. Nathaniel believed his micromanagement was a form of motivation, but it was a source of stress and frustration. At home, Nathaniel ruled with quiet authority, making decisions with the same meticulous care he applied to his work. Blinded by his good intentions, he failed to see the growing distance between him and his loved ones. Nathaniel's story is a cautionary tale, a reminder that the quest for control can often lead to the very chaos we seek to avoid. Clara, a bright and ambitious member of Nathaniel's team, walked into his office with a box of belongings. Her eyes, usually sparkling with ideas, were now clouded with determination and resignation. Her resignation, delivered with quiet dignity, sent shockwaves through Nathaniel's world. It was not just a resignation, it was a statement, a silent protest against the environment he had created. Clara's creativity had often been the spark that ignited the team's best work. Her departure was not just a loss of talent, but a loss of the very spirit that had driven the team forward. Nathaniel, ever the pragmatist, immediately went into problem-solving mode. He offered Clara a raise, more responsibility, anything to keep her from leaving. But even as he spoke, he could see the resolve in her eyes, a quiet determination that no offer could sway. Behind her polite refusal, he sensed a deeper reason, a quiet frustration he couldn't quite grasp. Her decision was not about money or position, it was about something more profound. Clara's departure left an unexpected void in the team. Her desk, now empty, stood as a stark reminder of the gap she left behind. Nathaniel, for the first time, felt a flicker of doubt. Had his need for control stifled the very creativity he sought to nurture? Was his leadership style truly effective? Or had he been blind to the needs and frustrations of his team? The dissatisfaction he saw in his team's eyes pointed to a deeper issue. It was a harsh realization, but one he could no longer ignore. The carefully constructed walls of Nathaniel's world began to tremble. Each crack was a reminder of his failures, a testament to the flaws in his approach. A single crack, small but significant, appeared in his facade of control, threatening to unravel the very fabric of his carefully curated life. Nathaniel stood at a crossroads, facing the daunting task of rebuilding not just his team, but himself. Point where it all went wrong. He had built his life on the foundation of control, and now that foundation was crumbling. Nathaniel knew that if he didn't act soon, Everything he had worked so hard to build would come crashing down. He knew he couldn't continue down this path. The thought of change filled him with unease, but it was the only way forward. He stood at a crossroads, faced with a choice that would define the rest of his life. Desperate for a lifeline, Nathaniel reached out for help. He began therapy, a step that challenged his belief in self-sufficiency. The therapist, a kind and patient woman, helped him understand the root of his need for control, the fear and vulnerability that lay beneath the surface. She introduced him to the concept of mindfulness, of being present in the moment rather than constantly trying to control the future. Nathaniel, initially skeptical, found solace in the simple act of breathing, of observing his thoughts and emotions without judgment. He began to practice mindfulness daily, incorporating meditation and journaling into his routine. Slowly, he started to recognize the patterns of his behavior, the triggers that sent him spiraling into control mode. The journey was far from easy, filled with setbacks and moments of self-doubt. Yet, with each passing day, Nathaniel felt a glimmer of hope. He was no longer defined by his need for control. He was learning to let go, to embrace vulnerability, and in doing so, he began to rediscover himself. The changes in Nathaniel didn't happen overnight. They were subtle at first, like cracks of sunlight breaking through a cloudy sky. He started listening more at work, actively seeking out the opinions of his team. He encouraged their ideas, even if they differed from his own. To his surprise, Nathaniel found that relinquishing control didn't lead to chaos, but rather to a surge of creativity and productivity. His team, once hesitant, blossomed under his newfound trust and support. They felt valued, their voices heard, their contributions acknowledged. At home, Nathaniel made a conscious effort to be more present. He started asking Sarah about her day, genuinely listening to her thoughts and feelings. He encouraged her passions, offering support without trying to dictate the outcome. Their relationship, once strained, began to heal. The walls of control that Nathaniel had so carefully erected began to crumble, replaced by bridges of understanding and connection. He was no longer an island, but part of a vibrant ecosystem, nurtured by the very people he had once kept at arm's length.